So, with all the uncertainties that COVID-19 is bringing to our lives, many of us have a lot more stress. And one specific area where many of us are feeling this stress is our finances, is our money. So, in this video, I'd like to give you my top 3 tips for how to manage your money and your finances well during difficult times. First, thanks so much to Ithraa Training Center in Amman for sponsoring this video. Thank you, Samir, Mary, and the whole team for helping make this video possible. A little bit about me. My name is Clarke. I'm an American CPA, certified public accountant. I've been working in the Middle East for about 6 years, and one of the things that I do for corporations as well as individuals is finance and accounting training. And one of the trainings that I do specifically is personal finance training. So from my own experience as a trainer, as well as the experience of former students and colleagues, here are my top 3 tips for managing your money during tough times. Number 1, prioritize your spending. One of the things that we mentioned in our training is that our finances can almost be reduced to one simple formula. You have money coming in and you have money going out. Now, many of us have less control, at least immediately, on how much money we have coming in. However, we do have much more control over our spending, over what money is going out. And that's where we need to focus our attention right now and really prioritize how we are spending our money. A helpful question to ask is this purchase, is this cost a need, or is it a want? In times like these, we need to be limiting our wants, or the wants of our family, or the wants of our kids, and focusing on our needs, on our necessities. Now, you can do this with groceries to buy, which medicines are crucial right now, which supplies to stock up on, which bills to pay first, and choosing for our money to go to these needs and delay our wants or delay things that we don't need to pay immediately. Now, practically, when it comes to how to prioritize monthly bills like rent, internet, electricity, other utilities, if you have multiple bills coming due at the same time, hey, be proactive now and even call these companies or people to ask if you can delay payment. You can then prioritize and use some of that extra money right now on bills to pay first, which bills to pay later, so you can use those funds for something else, something more immediate, your essential needs. So, first tip, prioritize your spending and ask the question, is this a need or is this a want? Tip number 2, create an emergency fund. Clarke, what's an emergency fund? An emergency fund is money you have set aside for emergencies, for times like losing your job, having a big car accident, needing to pay for an emergency surgery of a family member. Now, a really good starting place for the amount of money to have in an emergency fund is 3 months of your normal spending, of your normal monthly expenses. It's a really good starting place. Now, Clarke, you might be thinking, isn't now with COVID-19 and many of us on lockdown or issues with our jobs or new health expenses, Clarke, isn't this like an emergency? And honestly, I'd say for many of us, yeah, it is. And if you already have an emergency fund, you're probably feeling a lot less stressed and more prepared because you were wise in having money set aside for hard times like these. However, for those of us that don't have an emergency fund saved up yet, this can be a great time to start. The fact is, there's still many unknowns when it comes to many of our finances, especially with COVID-19 and the variety of changes that are happening to our lives because of it. And we need to continue to be prepared to handle more unknowns in the future. And having money saved away for things to come in an emergency fund is a great way to be prepared financially. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, and the final tip, create a budget or adjust your current budget. First, what in the world's a budget? We like to say that your budget is your plan for how you want to spend your money. That's it. It's you consciously living your values through your money. And just like fingerprints, every person in the world has a unique fingerprint. Every person or family has their own unique budget. Now, for most of us, we plan month to month, and that's a great way to start. Now, for some of you watching this, you may have never created a budget before. And hey, that's okay. Right now is a great time to start. And here's our first suggestion in getting started. If you've never created a budget before, start tracking all of the money coming in and all of the money going out for you and your family. You can do this with a simple notebook or current generation through an app on your phone. There's a lot of great free apps out there. But by starting to track all the money coming in and the money going out, you begin to get more clarity on your financial situation as well as your habits, both good and bad. In fact, some of the biggest aha moments for our students have been after they started diligently tracking their expenses, saying things like, man, I didn't realize that I spent so much money on this. That's something I want to change. Once you know where you're spending your money and where your money is going, then you can make a first step plan in including positive changes to how you want to spend your money in the future. Now, for those that do already have a budget, you already have a written plan for how you want to spend your money. Take some time and rethink that plan because of the changes that have happened with COVID-19 and this difficult season that many of us find ourselves in. This could include which categories are no longer applicable. For many of us, many restaurants aren't open, so you won't need to spend money on that this month. But there also might be new categories or maybe more money needing to go to certain categories. And going back to our previous tip of building an emergency fund, something I would suggest now when you're looking at changes to your current budget is to start putting money into an emergency fund to be better prepared for more future financial unknowns. So again, for those that do already have a budget, sit down and plan, maybe with your spouse, with your family, with a trusted friend, how you plan for your money or what your plan for your money and how it will be different in this next month or so. So that's it. Those are the 3 biggest tips for managing your finances during difficult times. First, prioritize your spending. Again, think needs versus wants. Second, creating an emergency fund. Put money aside for future financial unknowns. And 3, creating a budget. Or if you already have one, adjusting your budget. Now, those are the 3 biggest tips. And if you're up for it, I have one bonus tip for you. It's actually one of my favorite all-time personal finance tips. Here's the bonus tip. Be generous to others. Plan on giving away to others in need even today. There's something that happens within ourselves when we take our focus off of ourselves, off of our family situation, and look to the needs of others. We are reminded that others are also in need and having a difficult time, that we're not alone, and that we can be a part of other people's solutions. This outside focus is really good for us. And it's good for our mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And we are modeling for others the change we want to see in the world. So I hope you found these tips helpful, giving you some practical tips for managing your money and your finances during these difficult times. Blessings to all of you.